Hello, Darshan Maharaja here. As we mark the 39th anniversary of the Air India bombing, which until 9/11 happened, as you know, it was the biggest terrorist attack in the world. As we mark this 39th anniversary, I came across this news item, not in an Indian publication or media outlet, but this was pointed out to me that the Canadian government has put two Sikh gentlemen on a no-fly list. They are said to be Khalistani activists. Their names are Paropkar Dule and Bhagat Singh Brar. It struck me that, and I'll go into the details later, but it struck me that Canada is possibly playing both sides of the game right now on the Khalistan issue. And before I go further, let me clarify that when I say Canada, it means the government, not the people of Canada. But it looks to me like they are now playing both sides to keep, both the groups uh, kind of appeased to the extent possible, or at least not unhappy. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't. I think it won't. It may backfire, and both groups may end up being unhappy and angry at the Canadian government. Now, I find these two names of, worthy of some comment. And this is just maybe not completely on topic, but Paropkar Dule. Now, Paropkar means doing a good deed on someone without anything, any expectation in return. When you don't owe them anything, they are maybe complete strangers and you are doing them a good deed. That is Paropkar. It's a Sanskrit word. And Bhagat Singh Brar, the first name Bhagat Singh is one of the most revered names from the days of Indian independence struggle. He was also Sikh, Bhagat Singh, and his name is never said just the first name Bhagat Singh. It's always Shahid Bhagat Singh, the martyr, who was hanged later on by the British authorities. And there was a period in the 1920s when he was more popular than Gandhi. So, you can imagine, like in every school, in every class, children are taught about Bhagat Singh. So that this is a little bit off topic, but I thought these two names, merit this 1 minute of explanation. The grounds for putting them on a no-fly list are said to be reasonable ground to believe that they could commit a terrorist act. Now, this is a very significant development. I hope Canadian media picks up on this because this amounts to saying that the Khalistan movement is not entirely peaceful. Because if you can suspect at least two members of that movement to be capable of carrying out a terrorist act and having the intention to do so, then you can no longer claim that this is a 100% peaceful movement. And that is what the government is saying. I'm not saying it. I'm just interpreting the language that they have used, which is reasonable ground to believe that they could commit a terrorist act. And putting them on a no-fly list maybe could be interpreted to mean that the safety of the aircraft and all the passengers in it may be endangered. So this is a hint, and I think journalists need to drill down on this, question the minister and maybe even the prime minister as to what is behind this, to the extent that it is possible to disclose without endangering safety concerns of people. We need to know about this. I remember back in the fall of 2018, when a national security report had come out and the threats to national security of Canada had been listed. Uh, in the final segment, they had mentioned, and I'm quoting here, Sikh into brackets, Khalistani bracket over terrorism. This is what the title was. And then I read it. I was doing radio at the time. There was furious reaction to this from not just the Sikh or Khalistani community, but from other people who were kind of wondering why this was being mentioned. Because, and for the record, I was against that also. Um, the incidents that they had quoted to justify the inclusion of Khalistan movement in that report were all from the 1980s, including the Air India bombing. But my point was that if the movement poses a risk to national security of Canada or the security of Canadians in the present, then you have to tell me why, what are the factors in the present, not things that happened more than 30 years ago. If I need to be, you're telling me I need to be afraid of my Sikh neighbor, and I need to know why, because otherwise I'm on good terms with the fella. We mow each other's lawn when we are mowing our lawn. We just go over to the other side and finish it because that's what good neighbors do. Or there are times when somebody's car is broken down and the neighbor says, "Okay, I'll take your kid to school. I'm going to office anyway." Things like that, day-to-day life where we don't think that we are doing a favor to someone, we are just being neighbors. So if I need to be afraid of that neighbor of mine, that was my point at the time, and that you're telling me to be afraid of that neighbor, then you need to tell me why, within reason, not going all the way to the minutest detail, but you have to tell me broadly why I need to be scared. So that that explanation never came. They just reacted as governments normally do. They react and then they hastily rewrote the whole report. uh, and as someone who spent a lifetime reading reports, my subjective assessment was that the segment relating to Sikh, into brackets Khalistani bracket over terrorism, had been tacked on. It wasn't part of the report uh, originally. By the time it was published, it looked like it had been tacked on as an afterthought. Now, that was old history, 2018. So we are now almost 6 years away from that. But in today's case, when two Khalistani activists have been put on a no-fly list on reasonable ground to believe that they could commit a terrorist act, then we need to know more, and the media needs to dig into this. At the same time, the reason why I'm saying that the government is playing both sides in this game is because they had a minute of silence in memory of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was killed last June. So naturally, the Indian government was not happy about it. They issued a reaction, and this could be uh, maybe a measure or a step taken to placate the Indian government, to show to them that, hey, we are taking your concerns seriously, and look, here is what we did. So that's why I think they are playing both sides of the game. But one has to go with the assumption that whoever is put on a no-fly list is uh, with valid reason. There must be at least some prima facie evidence to show that these two individuals pose the risk that they have described. So media needs to dig into this. I thought it was necessary to highlight this, especially on a date like today. Let me know what you think in your comments. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, goodbye and be well.